Right. So running through a couple of questions that we've got for the YouTube channel now. I'm just going to give my quick, brief, honest opinion on these. So question number one, is competitive bodybuilding for everyone? Easiest answer, no. Competitive bodybuilding, that is the part that I'm responding to. Bodybuilding, maybe not bodybuilding, but fitness training for sure. You know, you've got one body, you've got one life. I think you should be able to enjoy that life being as healthy as you can, and that means going to the gym and looking after yourself, but you don't have to get on stage. I think in today's world of social media, competing is made to romanticize what it sort of looks like. You know, you see the end product, you see people on stage in great shape. If you haven't gone through that process, you don't really understand what's actually gone into that process and how hard it is. So no, I don't believe competitive bodybuilding is for everyone. Question two, how your mind has changed over the years in terms of goals. I mean, when I first got into training out of school, I've always been in the gym and into training for myself. It's never been for anyone else. It's definitely not been for women or to get attention. You know, a lot of people, I think when they see a guy with muscle, they think that's what it's about. This has always been my own goal and my own thing to chase. How has it changed over the years? So when I first got into training, it was something that I loved, that it was all about how much effort I put into it. Going to the gym, sticking to my diet, getting into recovery, getting physio, rehabbing. Yeah, that's what I loved I come from a background with football, and you know, I could play quite well, but we could still lose as a team. So that's what I sort of first fell in love with. Then when I got into competing, my first goal as a, you know, junior, just to win a show, I suppose. I managed to do that on my first show that I did, NABA West as a junior. I then went to NABA Britain. I then wanted to win in the NABA Britain, which I managed to do that. And it's sort of, as you get into competitive bodybuilding, I believe it's like tick one goal off at a time. Managed to win my first overall, which was a goal, in which case you win a sword. I've got that sword up in the gym. If you might see it in the background, a couple of the videos. And it came to a goal more recently of turning IFBB professional. I've just missed out on that a few times, and I suppose that's where this comeback or pursuit of regaining my mass that I've not lost, but regaining mass to then compete, and that would be the ultimate goal, to now go for pro status. Next question, if you have to do it all again to be where you are now or better, what would you do different? It's tough really, because I think I've got to this stage making the decisions that I have. So I'm 34 now. I got into training at 15. What would I have done differently if I have to say anything? I mean, when I was younger, I could stay in the gym for 3 hours. Just loved training, loved being in the gym. So maybe in those earlier years, understanding that length of time in the gym is not as important as intensity in the gym, and your precision with your time and with your exercises. Volume is not indefinite, you know. Just doing more time and more reps isn't then always beneficial. If it was about volume and it was about how many reps you did within a session, well, now I'd be doing like 1,000 reps a session to try and get bigger. So, you know, for young guys getting started, focus on getting the quality squat, bench, deadlift. Learn those foundation movements, and then learn how to get the intensity within the set. Do you need to be super strong to be a bodybuilder? Initial reaction to that one straight away is no. I could name plenty of guys that are IFBB, you know, monstrously well-built blokes that aren't particularly known for being very strong. The first one that comes to mind is a very famous bodybuilder called Paul Dillette. Notorious in terms of stories about how he really didn't train very hard. He was a genetic freak in terms of his muscle size, if you look him up. But do you need to be strong to be a bodybuilder? The easiest answer to that is no. There are plenty of strong bodybuilders that are out there, and when you get into training, it's a nice feeling to feel strong. But in terms of to be a good bodybuilder, you do not have to be strong. I would just say that as a straightforward answer. Next question. How do you deal with obstacles, injuries? This is very relevant for now. Stressors, any unfortunate circumstances. So dealing with injuries, I covered this in the last training session. I don't know anyone at any level of sport, football, golf, rugby, basketball, you name me a sport, name me someone at the top who hasn't had to deal with adversity in some form, be it injury, be it personal life, be it, God knows, just to push the body to the limits, whether it be physically, mentally. There's gonna be resistance in some form or another. Now with myself, I'm currently dealing with I'm gonna say it's more nerve, shoulder related issue. I have no real power out my bottom when I do pressing movements in my chest and in this right hand on my tricep. It's not something I've had before, it's a very new issue. But in terms of what I have done in the past, I've had all sorts of injuries and niggles, sore knees, hips, lower back, wrists, yeah, you name it. I feel like I've been quite fortunate because I do keep on top of a lot of my soft tissue work, getting regular physio, acupuncture, trying to do things like just simple sauna, go to sauna, often swimming, you know, something that you don't think is going to be that massive to do, but in the long term for keeping fit and healthy in terms of for training and bodybuilding, I do believe it's quite beneficial. In terms of coming through other obstacles, this is where for me, I only talk for myself, the gym's always been the thing that I've actually been able to rely on in my life, that when the outside world gets quite tough, the gym is what I can confide in. The gym is where it doesn't matter whether I'm having a good day or a bad day, I can go to the gym and I can just be in my own little world, put my headphones on, maybe I'll train with my training partners or I'll just be by myself. But while I'm in that gym for that hour, whatever's gone on outside of the gym doesn't matter. And it doesn't mean that when I'm in there, then I'm like hiding from my issues or anything, but I speak to most people, if you go in and have a good training session, when you come out from that, it hasn't, like I said, it hasn't changed any of the circumstances, but let's say you've, I don't know, had an argument with your missus or your girlfriend, you go and have a training session and you're still going to have to go back and deal with that situation, but you've just got an almost clearer mindset for it. You haven't got the frustration and the anger that could be there. And you know, I personally feel like it can help having training in your routine as such. Bit of a deep dive on that one. Where do we get to? Question 6. In your opinion, is lifting weights essential? Where could I go with that? Essential is quite a specific word. Is it essential? In terms of health and longevity, I would argue yes. You know, in terms of bone density, there's enough evidence out there to show that if you lift, especially into your later years in life, 50 plus, it will help with maintaining muscle mass, like you say, bone density, structure, supported with nutrition, obviously. It doesn't mean that you have to go in and lift weights to excessive amounts, 1 rep maxes, but if you are consistently lifting, it will benefit your health and lifestyle for sure. My other thought when I saw that question, is lifting essential or is lifting weights essential? I would say more so being into a gym routine or training the body to a certain, whether that be running, swimming, cycling, fitness classes. That for me is what would be essential. It doesn't have to be lifting weights. If you don't enjoy lifting weights for whatever reason, but you go to a Zumba class, you are using your body, you are staying fit, you are staying healthy. Question 7. What in your eyes are people doing wrong to put muscle mass on? What are they doing wrong to lose? And what are they doing and what are they also doing wrong to lose weight? Specifically, this person says body fat. So address the first one. What do people do wrong to put muscle mass on? There's going to be the 2 factors, isn't there? It's going to be the training and it's going to be the nutrition. Now, it is a bit of a blanket statement because realistically everyone's going to be individual. So you need to know where that person is currently, how their diet is, and what their training age and what their training experience is already. If you're first getting into the gym, let's say you're 18 to early 20s, you're in an 18 to 23 bracket, new to the gym, not really have any nutritional plan. Try to get good quality protein in your nutrition through the day. Split it into smaller feed-ins. It doesn't need to be massive, but more so protein with a decent carbohydrate amount from a good source, whether that be rice, pasta, oats, bagels, cereal. There's so many different carbohydrate amounts out there. And then into your training again, looking at a good overall body split, whether that be upper, lower, push-pull legs, individual body parts. Try not to look for that one perfect plan. It doesn't matter how perfect the plan is. What matters is your attention to doing the consistency of the plans over and over and over as well as you can, and learning the movements. In regards to that same question, then what are they doing wrong in regards to losing weight? Now, in terms of losing weight and losing body fat, it's the biggest thing at the minute. Ozempic and weight loss injections are all the rage. It's you know, I can name, or I think of several people that I know of quite close that are doing it. Could they achieve what they are achieving through diet alone? Yes. Now, I'm no one to judge. You want to do a weight loss injection? Absolutely, crack on. Albeit that it's still you still improve your relationship with food. If your idea is to do a weight loss jab that stops you eating as much rubbish food, that you're then just not improving your relationship with food and nutrition, you take that weight loss jab away, you haven't really necessarily improved anything, and I would say you run the risk of probably regaining the weight you've lost because you didn't improve your relationship with food. So in terms of losing body weight, specifically body fat, nutrition has to be on point, okay? And I would say for a large majority of that, people could just tidy up their diet, you know, looking at your nutrition and being honest with yourself. Biscuits, cakes, biscuit bars. If you regularly snack on like wasted calories like this, if you cut those out straight away, you could start to see an improvement in your body composition for sure, and dropping body fat. How do you stay motivated? I'm not always motivated. And anyone that says they are barefaced lying. You will never be always motivated in your training, in your recovery, in your nutrition. For me, and I'll only talk again for myself, whenever those things come up, I am motivated for my goal. So if I sit down to a meal that I have no motivation to eat, I ask myself, do I want my goal in terms of my physique goal, my performance goal in the gym? And then I will have to make that meal and eat it. Doing cardio in the morning, the alarm goes off 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. Is it easier to roll over, stay in bed? Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the simple fact of it. But if I want my goal, I need to get up, need to get on that bike, need to do my 20, 30, sometimes 40, 50 minutes cardio, depending on where I am in off season or pre-contest, or going in for legs. You know, been a long day working, training clients, might not be able to train till 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night, but I'm due to train legs. It would be easy to go, I'm going to do that next day or do that another day. If you're going to rely on motivation to do your training solely, you're probably going to train once or twice, and then motivation will go and you won't want to do it anymore. You have to stay dedicated to your goal and what you want to achieve. Last one being question 10. How do you measure overall progression and how often? How do you measure your progress, your progression, and how often do I measure it in terms of like looking at the mirror, scale, my energy levels, or like tracking my programming in my actual training sessions? Do I notepad? So how often do I track? So I'll take my weight at least once a week currently. Regarding to training, I have logbooked before. The danger with logbooking, I personally feel, is you can then start to want to just beat the logbook every week, and you have to realistically think, in my opinion, it's hard to progress every week in terms of either it be a weight or a rep. Some other people in the industry, I'm sure, would argue against that you could put a 0.5 of a kilo on every week, yeah, I'm sure, and get, you know, like really small progressions. I've been doing this long enough now that I feel I know where my body's at on the day, and if there are extra reps or there is more in me for weight, I will put that on the bar. And I think that comes with experience. The longer you're in the gym, you get a better understanding of what you're able to give on that day. You know, sleep, hydration, nutrition, that should all be as equal as you can. But, you know, I'm sure everyone watching this would understand, you have a bad night's sleep, you're going to feel an effect of that for training. If you've been busy and you haven't quite nailed your hydration for that day, you're going to feel that in your output in the gym. So my main goal right now is obviously putting muscle mass on. How am I measuring that? I'm using the mirror and scale weight, and I'll look probably once a week right now, because when I go into a prep, it will be a lot more regular. But for now, it's getting the food in, keeping training as hard and intense as I can, and then just tracking the small variables in terms of where my body weight's at and what my body composition is, being that when I say body composition, how fat am I getting basically. I want that weight that is going on to be lean muscle and not just body fat, obviously. So appreciate listening. Some good straightforward questions there. You guys have any more, leave comments down in the comment box below, and appreciate again everyone tuning in, likes, shares, it all means a lot, and see you on the next video. Cheers guys.